What's going on, guys? It's me, Galaxy Landon, and this is Galaxy's Lounge. Today we're going to be going over my favorite deck that I've played in today's format. This is not Maraudon EX, this is Joltik Box. So, I started playing Joltik Box about 2 or 3 months ago, and this is just my deck list that I've been growing over time. There's some things about this deck that you'll see that is different than other Maraudon Joltik Box deck lists, but yeah, we're actually gonna just get right into it. So, starting off, we're using Maraudon EX. Maraudon EX lets you use Tandem Unit. Oh my god, let's see this. There we go. Let's use Tandem Unit, so you can search your deck for up to 2 electric Pokemon, and then it has Photon Blaster for 220, which I've never used, but actually sometimes I have. We're gonna run 2 of these Maraudon EXs. Next up, we have Joltik. So Joltik is the main charge of the deck. Jolting Charge lets you search your deck for 2 basic grass and electric type energies and attach them to your Pokemon any way you like. That is super broken for this deck, especially for some of the other attackers we have. So we're gonna run 2 of these Joltiks. I run Galvantula. I know people don't, but I run Galvantula as a 1-prizer in case you get into a wall matchup, like against not Cornerstone, but against like Mimikyu or Aegislash, stuff like that. So Galvantula is a really good card for that. Also, Galvantula with an electric energy and grass does one-shot Charizard and Grimmsnarl. So it's a really good 1-prizer to have. Next up, we're using Iron Hands EX. This is one of your main attackers for taking 2 prizes on 1-prizers. Amp you very much, it does 120, and if you knock out your opponent's Pokemon with this attack specifically, you take an extra prize card. So your prize mapping for this deck is 222. You never want to go take a 3rd prize for any reason. Like, let's say you're gonna use something to get a Pidgeot on the active Weak to Electric. You can use Arm Press to take in 2 prizes instead of using Amp very much to take the 1-shot and get 3. So we're gonna run 2 of these Iron Hands EXs. Next up, we got Pikachu. Pikachu is a really good card. It has a Resolute Heart ability, so when it's at full HP, it cannot get 1-shot. This is really helpful into the Typhlosion matchup. And also, running 2 of these Pikachus kills Goldango so fast. Topaz Bolt is 3 energies, it does 300 damage. Discard 3 energies from this Pokemon. It is a Grass, Electric, and Metal. Your goal with it is to use Topaz Bolt on the Goldango, charge up both Pikachus with the energies from Joltik. So it's actually a really cool little Pokemon you can throw into the deck, and it's very helpful. We're obviously running 1 Fez. Flip the Script is just such a broken ability, so when they KO your Joltik or they KO something else, you can always draw 3 cards. Also, the Cruel Arrow attack is pretty good if you want to snipe something off the bench with Fez. I rarely ever do it, but if you ever wanted to, let's say they have an extra Dreepy on board or Dracloak and they just keep drawing, go on with Fez. It could work. We're also running Latios. Latios is for the free retreat cost because the majority of our deck is basics, with the exception of Galvantula. Everything else is a basic Pokemon, so you'll get free retreat with Latios. Blood Moon Ursaluna EX is a really, really good card. I've used it a lot to come back from losses. The Season Skill ability, Blood Moon, used by this Pokemon, costs 1 colorless less for each prize card your opponent has taken. And it's just an overall really great card. Mew EX, Mew Restart, the more draw support the better. Also Genome Hacking, if you're playing into the Dragapult matchup, you could, not necessarily Dragapult, but any matchup that this would benefit from. Raging Bolt would be one of them. You can put this down onto the bench, attach a few energies to it, and maybe one of the tools that I'll show you later. Pop it into the active, use Genome Hacking on the Raging Bolt, Bellowing Thunder, and you could detach from the Iron Hands or even the Mew itself. It's a really good surprise attacker. And draw support. Lily Fairy lets you do 2 times damage to the dragon type Pokemon with Psychic Pokemon. Full Moon Rondo does 20 damage for each of your bench Pokemon both using your opponents. So if you're playing against a deck like Raging Bolt, or if you're playing against a deck like Dragapult, this is a really good card to have to one-shot the Dragapults or Raging Bolts. Now, this is what people might mainly use instead of Galvantula's, Iron Leaf EX. Iron Leaf EX has Rapid Vernier, so when you play it from your hand onto your bench, you can switch into the active with as much energy as you want from the other Pokemon. And Prism Edge does 180. During your next turn, your Pokemon can run attack. This is the attacker people use instead of Galvantula. I run both because I feel like having both is just a really good way of ensuring consistency with this deck. Alright. So, for supporters, we're going to be running 4 copies of Arven. Arven lets you search out an item and a tool, and there's a lot of tools in this deck, a lot of items in this deck that are really, really useful for basically every Pokemon. 4 copies of Crispin. Crispin lets you grab 2 energies of different types and attach one of them to your Pokemon, the other one goes to hand. I personally like using that on Pikachu, so what I'll end up doing is Jolting charge 2 Pikachus in the Goldango matchup, and then next turn I can use a Crispin to grab a Metal Energy and attach it to a Pikachu, and maybe later on grab something else. Next up, we have 4 copies of Boss's Orders. Some people run 3 copies. I run 4. Not having 4 Boss's Orders in this deck kills the deck. The amount of times that I've been saved by my opponent Ionoing me into a Boss's Order when my deck is thinned out, or me running a random Pokegear and getting my Boss's Orders has been so insane. It's crazy not to run it. For items, we're going to be running 4 copies of Nest Ball, which lets you grab a basic Pokemon. 4 copies of Ultra Ball, discard 2, and then grab any Pokemon you like. 3 Pokegear with the top 7 cards of your deck for any supporter you may find there. 1 Night Stretcher. I use Night Stretcher over Super Rod because Super Rod requires you to run one of these other Nest Balls or Ultra Balls to get the Pokemon back, or use a Crispin to get the energy back. Night Stretcher just brings it straight back to hand. If they Devo you, or if they, not Devo, if they knock out something that you only have 1 of, Night Stretcher just lets you get it back really quickly, and it's really nice. 1 copy of Earthen Vessel. This is for mainly the Pikachus, but also the Lily's Clefairy or anything else that's down here that requires a lot of energies, and you can't accelerate to it. That's the only problem with this deck. There's not a lot of energy acceleration except for Joltik. You're running 1 Prime Catcher. No further words needed about the Prime Catcher. Prime Catcher is just really good in this deck, and there's no other Aspect that you can really put in here as a toolbox deck. I've thought about putting Sparkling Crystal in here just to see how it worked, but if I was going to do that, I'd rather as well just play Terror Box. For tools, I'm going to put the tools right here. For tools, we're going to be running 1 Power Glass. Power Glass lets you grab an energy from your discard pile and attach it to the Pokemon in the active when it's inactive after your attack. So usually I would actually put this on Pikachu, and then bring back the metal after my attack so I can just Crispin and attack again. Rescue Board over Air Balloon. So Air Balloon takes off 2 retreat costs from your Pokemon. The only Pokemon that is really valid for is probably Blood Moon Ursaluna, but you have Latios. Latios gives you free retreat, and there's no way of getting rid of abilities, to my knowledge, in the meta, except for Flutter Mane and Team Rocket's Watchtower. And Team Rocket's Watchtower only affects colorless Pokemon, which Latios does not. So, I've always just run Rescue Board. I've never had an issue with running Rescue Board. It's always been good to me. And yeah. Next up we have XP share. So XP share is when your active Pokemon gets knocked out, you can attach an energy from it to one of your bench Pokemon. I usually put the XP share and Power Glass on both my Pikachus. As soon as possible. So if I can get XP share on a Pikachu and then my Joltik dies, it can charge up the Pikachu very early on. Or I'll put this on Mew, so I can just start charging a Mew for a potential knockout later on. For the last tool, I use Future Booster Energy Capsule. Now, a lot of people don't believe me when I say I use Future Booster Energy Capsule. Future Booster Energy Capsule lets you do 20 more damage with a future Pokemon and gives it free retreat. This is good for Iron Hands and Iron Leaves. Iron Leaves can KO a Hero's Caped Charizard with Future Booster Energy Capsule. It's the only way you can kill it. So it's there. Also for Iron Hands, if you're trying to take knockouts on higher HP Pokemon, you can do it. It does the extra 20 damage. You can KO stuff that has 130, 140 HP instead of only going for things that have 120 or less. It's really, really helpful. For our stadium, we're playing Gravity Mountain. This also helps with that matchup. So, let's say you're playing in a Typhlosion. You need to get this Gravity Mountain down. That's minus 30 HP. It goes from 170 to 150. Yeah. No, 140. It goes down to 140. Yeah. So now with 140, you attach the Future Booster to Iron Hands. Now you're taking 2 prize knockouts on Typhlosion. You need a lot of stuff for that matchup, but you're getting your 2 prizes. Also, it's really helpful into the Charizard matchup. It lets you KO a Charizard or anything that has above 300 health, because nothing has above 330 health. You can KO it with just Pikachu. You don't have to rely off of Iron Leaves or Galvantula. It's really helpful. For our energies, we'll be running 5 Electric Energy, 5 Grass Energy, 2 Metal Energy, and 2 Psychic Energy. Why the 2 Psychic Energy? Well, in case you ever need to attack with Latios, it requires you to have 2 Psychic Energies. I've done it a couple times. It does help sometimes, but yeah. The 2 Metal Energies are for the 2 Pikachu, so you can charge up with Pikachu not having to worry about not having the extra energy. I don't run 6-6. I run 5-5 on the Electric Grass. 5-5 lets me put in cards like Future Booster Energy Capsule and XP Share or Gravity Mountain, and I would have to take these cards out to just have 2 more energies that you really don't need. It's very rare that you ever prize all your energy like that, and it's just, there's no point. There's no point in running that much energy when you already have so much here, and the Joltik can get 4 of these out. So it's really fun. So, this is my Joltik box deck list. This is a deck list that has gotten me a few undefeated weeks at my locals. I went on a streak of like 20 wins and 5 losses over the course of a month with this deck. That's at League Cups, League Challenges, Weeklies, the whole 9. I've won a lot of store credit off of this deck alone, and a lot of good prizing. I would highly recommend you guys play this deck. It has brought me a lot of success, and I can see how I can bring you guys a lot of success too. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video on this deck list, and maybe soon I will play it for a video. I don't know. So if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, or suggestions, please leave them in the comments. I'm always trying to grow as a Pokemon player, and I'm trying to help you guys grow as a Pokemon player too. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, please comment, like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.